We live in such a disposable world these days. Very little seems worth keeping. But really, anything of quality is as rare as it ever was, if not more so. That's why great preserves still have a place. My favorite bistro dish, duck cooked to confit in duck fat, carrot jam, a sweet and glassy orange preserve with lemon and almonds, home-canned tomatoes, which are perfect for soup and look glamorous on your shelf, and peaches frozen in syrup that are the essence of summer ripeness even in February. Preserved foods are more than just food that keeps. It's food that makes you feel safe and sound, just seeing it on a shelf.
Seeing the signs again. Come over, and we'll meet again. Da da da, da 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 da.
I had a cocktail party last night, and my friend Ismet gave me this from Turkey. It's supposed to ward off the evil eye and bring you good luck. So I'm leaving it right here today because I need it. I'm trying all preserve recipes with a little trick. Duck confit is duck legs cooked for hours and hours in duck fat. It's one of the dishes. It's on every bistro menu. They get it out of jars, which is usually how I buy it in France, and you just melt the fat off and heat it up and get a nice crisp skin. Plus, duck legs can be tough. It's a good cooking method for them. It's from the southwest of France. Just throwing in some aromatics. A few peppercorns. Little cloves of garlic. I'm just peeling this garlic and cutting it in half. Bay leaf, maybe a little sprig of thyme too. Now this is a big jar of duck fat, which I just had sitting in the pantry to warm up, because obviously it solidifies when it's cold. And you just pour it over the legs to cover. Oh, it looks so good. I need the oven on low. I need the oven on at 200, and then they cook for 4 hours. Boy, oh, it smells fantastic. Duck fat and garlic. I'm just going to pack it in here because it's easier to keep in the fridge. Because all the sediment, all the juices from the meat has gone to the bottom, and I want it to stay there because it can otherwise contaminate the fat. So you take the clear fat out and ladle it over, because it's the fat that will seal the meat completely from the air and preserve it. But I'm not actually preserving the legs in jars. I'm just going to put them in the fridge to let the flavors mellow. This will last for up to 1 week in the fridge. And look, I already have one ready to go. You know, I have a cold cellar, which is full of, well, it's not full, but I have a bit of a collection of preserves that people have given me, and I can't remember what I've got. I mean, it lasts a long time, but not forever, so I'm thinking I'm going to go investigate. When I was growing up, we always had a cold room, and it was full of bins of apples and carrots buried in sand to keep them, and jars of pickles and jams to last all winter. I keep them down here because they need a cold, dark place, but it's too bad because they're so nice to look at. Dad's pickles. Peaches. So you have to sort of think of this recipe as starting right now, because If you had the preserves in a jar, this is all you do from this step onward. Set this in a pan with water and turn on the heat until it melts just enough so you can get in there and fish out the duck pieces. Don't throw out this fat because it's so great for frying potatoes. I'd do anything in it. I think I'll only make 2 of these. So I want this to have nice, crisp skin. 2 golden brown sides. I'm being very naughty. 2 duck legs. Oh, I love the smell of confit duck. It's great. It's so rich, crisp and soft all at once. Next, I'm making something out of a book someone gave me. Never tried before. Carrot preserve. It's like a jam. I just got the wackiest recipe book the other night. So I was at a party and someone came up and gave this to me. And it's got the strangest recipes. It's a recipe for confiture de carotte, carrot preserve. This is a pound of carrots, by the way. Trim these. Okay, slice. I don't know how thick. Guess it doesn't matter. It gets pureed. Okay, water to cover. I just have to wait till they're tender. Okay, I want these really squishy. Good. Nice bright orange. My favorite little machine. Actually, I'll do it here. It's always fun trying a recipe for the first time. It's like a blind date. Okay. Now what? Pesez la purée et ajoutez tous les ingrédients. For every pound of fruit, you need a pound of sugar and boil it to cook it down. Sugar. Seems like a lot, 2 cups, holy Moses. But I guess all jams do have a lot of sugar. That's what keeps them. No water or anything? Guess so. Oh, lemon juice. Juice of 2 lemons and zest of 1, so I better zest this first. So you cook it till the sugar dissolves. And then almonds. 10, the recipe says. Okay, almonds and cognac. Okay, now, oh, that's thick. Ah! I guess it should be thick like, I guess, thick and jammy like that. See how beautiful it is? So then, it's 2 tablespoons of cognac. There's 10 almonds chopped. Now I just have to let this cool slightly, and then I'll put it into sterilized jars. That's it. And she says it's a sweet preserve with a goût inattendu, an unexpected taste. Well, no matter what it tastes like, it's going to be unexpected. Very economical, true. And you serve it with salted butter and bread. And it's vraiment délicieuse. Now you would think I would taste it instantly, but I'm waiting for the salted butter and bread, as instructed in the recipe. The surprise jam! Eek! Well, it sure looks good. It's delicious. It's got a very mysterious taste. The carrot gives it the texture almost more than flavor. It's fantastic. Next, I'm making a recipe that I actually know very, very well because it's Anne Willen's preserving method for tomatoes. And she ran the Chateau Cooking School where I worked for years. They're beautiful, canned tomatoes in big glass jars. Now for my next recipe, head cheese. I'm just kidding. I'm not boiling a head. I'm making something that I haven't made in years, but it works so well and is beautiful on a shelf. It's preserved tomatoes in a jar. They're canned. You can make a soup so fast, and it tasted delicious because they were right from the garden. I'm just going to make 2 jars, just because it's the first practice run after a few years. Actually, these are smaller, so maybe I'll mix them up. For a pretty combination. So, you just fill the jars. This is so easy. Just dropping in a bay leaf, and actually, a few slices of onion too. You don't need a whole lot, just a couple of slices in there. And then some thyme. You can fill them right to the top because they shrink down a lot afterwards, after they're cooked. And you put on the lids. See how nice? And they look even nicer soon. So in the pot, I have this. So you set the jars in on top of that, keeps them off the direct heat. You set a lid on top of them, or you put a brick on top of them, anything to weigh them down, because there's water going in and it's going to make them float otherwise. If I moved the whole pot over and filled it with water, I'd never move it back. So I'm being a water carrier. It's like going to the well and back to the house. Okay, this is a really bad idea because it's going all over. Oh. Good enough. And then you let them simmer for an hour and a half which will seal the jars and you can keep them for up to a year. Redesigning the garden, maybe. Once it's cool, they bob around like dinghies in a harbor. And see how they've cooked all down? And so you have this nice liquid and these shiny tomatoes. Okay, soup. This is how Anne Willen did it. And here's what you do in the middle of winter when you haven't had a decent tomato in months. You open this, pour it into a pot. Puree. It tastes so good that you can serve this as a first course at a dinner party, happily. Just a little cream to take the edge off. Salt, pepper, and nothing else. Nothing else, because these tomatoes are so lovely and ripe that they just need their own sweet selves. And they're perfect. Get a nice steamy bowl of soup. Fresh from the garden any time of year. Very nice. It's delicious. You can taste the freshness of the tomatoes because there's nothing done to them. They're just pure tomatoes in a jar, embellished slightly. Now I should really do something about these peaches. These are canned from a friend, but I have a recipe for frozen, but they keep their color nice and bright. You just keep them in the freezer. I'm making that next. These are canned peaches from a friend of mine, and what I've always loved about the canned kind is that they have such beautiful color. But I recently got a recipe from someone else who said you can freeze peaches, which can sometimes be more convenient, and keep that bright color with a little trick. So the first thing I want to do is take the skins off the peaches. And all you do is make a little X in the bottom of the peaches. So I have boiling water. Just doing 4 at a time because I want lots of water around them and I don't want it to cool down too much. And then you just count to about 10. And as soon as you do, you plunge them into an ice bath and that shocks them and stops them from cooking at all, which you don't want. So that's that. Then you need to make a syrup. 2 cups of sugar and 1 cup of water. The syrup gets poured over the peach slices in the jars once it's cooled, but the trick is not the syrup. It's ascorbic acid, which is basically powdered vitamin C. You can get it at the drugstore. And all you need is a 1/4 teaspoon, a 1/2 teaspoon for this amount of syrup, and you'll have these bright, sunny peaches, just like that. So that just has to boil 5 minutes. And I'm going to put them into jars, which I've sterilized. Once that's boiled 5 minutes, you let it cool. this helps the skin come off easily, just slips off. And then you just slice them directly into the jars with that great color on them. And then you take this nice clear syrup, once it's cooled down, with the magic acid in it, and pour it into the jars. It's so juicy and they have nice acidity, which is so good in that little bit of syrup. That's what they're going to taste like in 6 months when I thaw them out. I made my favorite bistro dish, duck cooked to confit in duck fat, carrot jam, a sweet and glassy orange preserve with lemon and almonds, home canned tomatoes, which are perfect for soup and look glamorous on your shelf, and peaches frozen in syrup that are the essence of summer ripeness even in February. There's canned food and there's canned food. This takes a little more effort, but this is the kind worth keeping.